They turned his farm into a luxury hotel, and then the guests started disappearing. That's the story neighbors whisper now. After dark, after the HOA cameras stop blinking, when even Langston pretends he's not listening. But before it was a headline in quiet voices, it was just Owen's land. Just Owen. The one man everyone trusted. The last man who still remembered what this place was before it became the Circle. For 46 years, Owen Mathers lived on that stretch of land at the western edge of the Trust Circle boundary, long before the first wall was ever drawn or the first HOA rule was drafted. He owned 21 acres, most of it overgrown pasture and wooded ridgelines, but it was his. His house was small, 2 stories, built by hand with his brother and father in 1973. And when the Trust Circle expanded westward in the early 2000s, they promised Owen he'd be left alone. No walls, no board votes, no surveillance towers. They broke that promise in October. It started with a heritage zoning exception, buried deep in a packet Patricia delivered herself, formally just a courtesy review for the upcoming council vote. Owen wasn't alarmed. He didn't read the fine print. He trusted Patricia. They'd known each other since they were kids. She used to ride his horses. But that document transferred right of first refusal to the HOA on any underdeveloped property adjacent to Phase 4 expansion zones. His farm qualified. Within weeks, the surveyors came. Not Circle employees, outsiders, clean-cut, clipped accents, neutral expressions. They flagged trees, measured foundations. And then someone arrived in a black SUV, Langston himself. He didn't go to Owen's front door. He walked the land. No clipboard, just observation. By winter, construction began. They called it the Wexley Inn. An exclusive boutique wellness experience, set to blend rustic charm with cutting-edge behavioral optimization amenities. It wasn't just a hotel, it was a pilot project, a test of short-term residency programs within the Circle's control zones. Owen tried to protest. He was told he had already signed the development release. When he asked to see a copy, Patricia said the original had been archived, digitally, and access was restricted. She smiled when she said it, like she didn't want to, but had to. They gave him a room inside the hotel during construction, as a courtesy, while bulldozers leveled the pasture where his brother was buried. And that's when he stopped talking. The first time Clara Dresden saw Owen, he was standing at the edge of what used to be his garden, staring at the scaffolding wrapped around what would become the West Wing spa facility. She was there to oversee architecture compliance, still shaken from what she'd uncovered with the 86th house just months prior. This new job was supposed to be simpler, cleaner, but Owen looked at her like he already knew. "You can't bury something in this land without it growing back," he said, not even turning to face her. "You tell them that." Clara tried, but Langston wouldn't meet with her. Patricia said the designs were final. And then a new team arrived. Lockridge Infrastructure Group, brought in to oversee the digital integration of guest feedback systems. No one in the HOA directory had heard of them, and their server nodes were encrypted at a level Clara had never seen used outside of military contexts. Then the disappearances started. At first, it was subtle. A couple checks in for a wellness retreat. They never check out. Staff says they left early. Cameras show them walking to their car, but the footage cuts before they drive away. Next week, a solo guest, former HOA consultant, arrives under a different name, gone by morning. No police reports filed. Patricia says it's not within jurisdiction. Clara starts her own file. She goes back to the site, talks to Owen. He's not surprised. They didn't build a hotel, he says. They built a sinkhole with wallpaper. That night, Clara sneaks into the server room beneath the West Wing. She finds the connection node for the guest logs. It's not a log. It's a pattern recognition model. It tracks behavior, psychological markers, and stress responses, and each guest is categorized into one of three designations: adoptable, resistant, redundant. She looks up the names of the missing guests, all marked redundant. The following morning, the hotel's lead engineer disappears. He'd told Clara something the night before, that the water system had been routed not from city lines, but from an old sealed well under Owen's land. The same well Owen said he buried when he was 16, after his father made him promise never to open it again. Clara gets into the records room, finds the blueprints. The sealed well was rerouted directly beneath room 17. She visits it. Empty. Except for a faint hum behind the walls, and a camera in the smoke detector. Owen disappears next. No record of him checking out, no forwarding address. His old farmhouse, preserved for historical purposes, is now listed as a meditation zone. Clara is called in for questioning. Langston meets her in person this time. He says only one thing: some people belong to the land more than they realize. That night, Clara receives a package at her door. No return address. Inside, a VHS tape, labeled only with one word: rooted. She plays it. The footage is grainy, dated 1994. Owen, much younger, is digging near the well. He's talking to someone off camera. "We said no tech here. You promised." A voice answers, deep and distant. "It's not tech, Owen. It's remembrance." He pauses, then says, "If you ever come back here and I'm gone, tell them to stay out of room 17. The tape ends. But as Clara rewinds it, a second recording begins to play. Overlaid beneath the static. A different voice. One she's heard once before. Lockridge. The pilot is successful. Reclamation is active. Behavioral conversions are within expected thresholds. And Owen's land was never his to begin with. She looks at the wall and sees her own reflection move before she does. Clara didn't sleep the night she watched the tape. Not after hearing Lockridge's voice. Not after seeing Owen's face frozen on a grainy frame, looking directly into the lens like he was warning her from 3 decades ago. She replayed the final seconds again and again, trying to isolate the background sound. A faint mechanical pulse. It didn't match any known device. It wasn't machinery. It was too rhythmic. The next morning, the Wexley Inn was closed to the public. Private retreat event, Patricia explained in a statement posted to the Circle's internal newsletter. The story was airtight, but Clara noticed something in the corner of the photo they attached. Room 17. The window was open, curtains moving, and a shadow inside. She returned to the server room, now under level 7 biometric lock. Her clearance had been revoked, but she still had the engineer's override key, taped under the West Corridor exit sign where he used to smoke when no one was watching. She slipped inside during the lunch sweep. The guest logs were gone, replaced by a simple dashboard. One symbol in the center, a stylized tree, its roots pulsing red. Below it, convergence, 71% complete. She clicked it. A new screen. Live monitoring feed, but not of the guests, of the staff. All 24 members of the Wexley Inn's full-time team had individual biometric profiles. The system was tracking emotional responses, behavioral deviation, stress adaptability, and voice patterns. Each was labeled with a status. Most read, Phase 2, internalized. 3 read, Phase 3, dissolved. Clara backed away from the console. Behind her, the lights flickered. A screen turned on by itself. It showed Owen, standing in the middle of the meditation room, wearing the same clothes he disappeared in, smiling. But the room was empty when Clara ran to it. She tore through the space, pulling back tapestries, knocking over artificial fountains. Nothing. No footprints, no residual heat. Then she looked at the wall. The paint was fresh, but beneath it, faded lettering could still be seen in the right light. Property of Lockridge Research Collective, Recovery Site 2. She had seen those exact words before, in one of the redacted blueprints from the failed Circle 47B experiment. And then the floor vibrated. It wasn't an earthquake, it was focused, rhythmic, coming from below. Room 17. She walked to it. The door was already open. Inside, the decor had changed. Gone were the calming beiges and organic textures. The walls were now raw concrete, the bed stripped. In the center of the room, a square outline in the floor. Clara stepped into the center. The lights shut off. The floor opened. She dropped. Not far. A controlled descent. Metal walls. A white-lit tunnel below. She landed in what looked like a hospital corridor. Long, sterile, echoing with a quiet hum that matched the one from the VHS tape. At the far end, a single door. No handle. Just a screen above it. Root depth, 92%. It clicked open. Inside, a circular chamber, metal lined. Dozens of monitors displaying old footage from Owen's farm. Decades of it. Time-lapsed images of wind through grass, of sunsets over the ridge, of Owen riding horseback, walking, talking to people who no longer existed. In the center, Owen himself, seated, hooked to the wall by a neural interface, eyes open, breathing, still. Clara staggered back. He looked at her. "You're late," he said. She couldn't respond. He smiled. "They said I'd be gone before you got here. Guess they were wrong about that, too." She approached him carefully. "What is this place?" Owen's eyes didn't blink. "It's not a hotel. It's a root node. They needed land that remembered. Land soaked in memory. My family kept it unbroken for 100 years. That was the condition." Clara shook her head. "Condition for what?" "For the return." He leaned forward, unplugging one of the cables from his temple like it was nothing. "This place, it doesn't erase people. It folds them, presses them into the soil until their patterns can be read back." The guests? Some of them were just data points. Some didn't make it through. He pointed to a monitor. Footage of room 17. A woman inside, curled on the floor, whispering fragments of her childhood to no one. The system labeled her. Pattern retention failed. Owen stood shakily. They wanted my consent, but they never needed it. My brother, he didn't die. They took him first. He opened a drawer embedded in the wall. Inside, VHS tapes. Dozens. Each one labeled with a date, a guest name, and a final status. Absorbed. Clara asked him why he stayed. Owen looked at her with hollow eyes. "Because they said if I left, they'd make me permanent." He handed her one tape. It was labeled Clara Dresden. Initiated pre-memory sync. She dropped it. "I didn't check in." Owen said nothing. She ran. But the hallway had changed. No stairs back, no ladder, just wall. The monitors blinked. Langston's face appeared on everyone. "Thank you for confirming her readiness," he said. "Root integration complete." Clara screamed, slammed fists against the steel. A voice came through the intercom. "Patricia." "We didn't want this, Clara, but we need someone who can carry what he can't anymore." The lights dimmed. A gas hissed from the wall. Owen sat back down. "It's not so bad," he whispered. "Eventually, you forget which memories were yours." As Clara lost consciousness, the camera above her recorded every blink, every breath. Upstairs, in room 17, the lights turned back on. A new guest arrived. They were handed a card at check-in. It read, "Welcome to Wexley. You are not here to relax, you are here to remember."